Andrea Elise Dusha. Bondage, punishment, humiliation. Before this young woman got herself incarcerated, she thought all of it was quite exciting. Now that she is locked up and charged with murder, though, that is most certainly not the case anymore. And how could it? Now that she actually has to live in cuffs and chains. Now that she will probably have to pay for her wrongdoings for at least multiple decades. And now that she has been shown to the world as the vile and horrible woman she is. It makes her feel so utterly pathetic and miserable for this to be what her life has come to. But of course she has absolutely no one to blame for it but herself. This is simply what she deserves, and she will just have to accept that no matter how much she doesn't want to. Posing for OnlyFans pictures is not something this woman ever thought she'd do, especially not while incarcerated. But since the embarrassing footage of her arrest is going viral anyway, she figured she might as well just cash in on it. After all, her labor on the chain gang only earns her 10 cents per hour, so she can definitely use the extra income. Now it is just hoping the friend who takes and uploads the pictures doesn't get banned from visiting her. That's because the guards absolutely won't approve if they ever find out what the two of them are doing. Only half a year of being locked up has turned this young woman from deeply troubled and unruly to perfectly obedient and docile. That is because she has spent nearly all her incarceration so far in solitary confinement, being stuck in a small barren cell for 23 hours every single day, not being allowed any contact with her loved ones or other inmates, not even being allowed a single book to read. And with absolutely nothing to keep her occupied, she has essentially been forced to rethink her life, forced to contemplate all her mistakes, stupid decisions, and wrongdoings. It made her realize what a miserable and hopeless person she was, and that she needs to turn her life around. And while she has already made such progress in only a few months, sadly for her that does not mean she gets to move on from what she did. She is guilty of manslaughter after all, so she will undoubtedly have to live in cuffs and chains for many years to come still. And while she is not happy about that, of course, she does accept it as the punishment she deserves. Chantel Caitlin Thomas. This young lady has just been arrested for a fatal DUI crash. And while she is well aware of what she did and what is going to happen to her now, she almost can't believe any of it is actually true. The idea that she not only killed someone but also that she is most likely going to prison for a very long time now is just not setting in for her. Not even after getting handcuffed, patted down, strip-searched, being made to put on that degrading orange uniform, and now also having to pose for a mugshot. Unfortunately for her, though, no matter how hard it is for her to grasp, all of this is really happening to her. She is being put on trial for vehicular manslaughter, and if she is convicted, she will be made to live in cuffs and chains for a very long time to come. It is devastating, but these are of course the consequences of her own actions. Juliet Acosta. Walking while locked in a set of high-security restraints is certainly not easy. But since there are multiple cameras all pointed at this young lady during the most humiliating moment of her life, she is definitely not going to let some cuffs and chains slow her down. She strides past the press as quickly as she can. Walking like that in shackles hurts her ankles immensely, and with each step she takes she can feel herself nearly tripping and falling flat on her face. But she simply can't stop. Every single second she gets filmed while chained up like this is simply one too many for her to handle. This young woman is no stranger to having to live in cuffs and chains. She has been in and out of jail basically all her adult life. However, that doesn't mean she is prepared for what she has gotten herself into this time. Because right now she isn't getting incarcerated for mere weeks or months, but probably for at least a decade. Year after year she will be stuck in the same small cell block, locked away from her family, friends, and society as a whole, having absolutely no freedom whatsoever. She really has no clue how she is going to handle that, but unfortunately for her she has no choice but to simply accept it. She broke the law, so now she has to get punished. It is what she deserves. As if getting chained up and caged wasn't dehumanizing enough already, now this woman also has to endure being treated by the police as some sort of trophy. They are filming her against her will for a Facebook video as they condescendingly welcome her to jail and wish her good luck with her many charges. Apparently they just really want to show the world they finally got her after she defrauded countless people and then managed to evade capture for a very long time. And she may try to act like it doesn't bother her, but obviously she feels utterly pathetic and miserable right now. To be mercilessly called out and mocked for the bad person she is and having no choice but to simply take it. She can't run away. She can't fight her way out. And since undeniably deserves what is coming for her, she doesn't even have any clever retorts. So she just has to sit there and let herself get humiliated. Since she just got caught red-handed, this young lady knows there is really no use in worrying about what might happen to her next. There is no doubt about it. She will be found guilty of burglary and get sentenced to time in prison. Obviously, she is not happy about that in the slightest, but there is simply nothing she can do about it now. She knows she just has to accept that she messed up and that she is going to be punished for it, no matter how much she doesn't like it. Although it is her first time in jail, this young woman already knows quite a lot about incarceration. That is because her father was locked up for most of her childhood, and her mother for a significant part of her teenage years. It always broke her heart to see them being made to live in cuffs and chains. As a child, it was just upsetting, and as a teenager she truly grasped how dehumanizing it was. Now that she has to endure it herself as an adult, however, she mostly just feels miserable. That is because although she loves her parents, she has also felt a bit of resentment towards them. Resentment for messing up and getting locked away from her when she needed them. Hence why she vowed to never end up like her parents. But clearly she has failed to live up to that vow, because here she is, in custody, helplessly chained up, and facing charges that will almost certainly get her locked up for at least a year, perhaps even multiple. And sadly for her, she has absolutely no one to blame for this but herself. Dorothy Marilino. In her cuffs and chains, this pregnant inmate enters the courtroom for her sentencing. And although she could possibly be given life without parole today, she just doesn't really care. That is because she is guilty of murder, so she knows she is going to be locked up for decades anyway. Which means she won't get to raise her son. She won't get to see him grow up. And since that is really the only thing she cares about right now, she just cannot get herself to worry about the exact punishment the judge is going to give her. Whether she eventually gets to have her freedom back or she has to spend the rest of life in prison, it won't make her feel any better or worse. The only thing she can think about right now is having to give birth while being securely locked in restraints, getting to hold her son for only a brief moment, and then having him taken away from her. He will then be taken in by another family, and it will be up to them how they raise him, what they tell about her, and whether they allow him to eventually visit her in prison. It breaks her heart, but of course she has absolutely no one to blame for any of this but herself. These young protesters knew getting arrested was not going to be a pleasant experience. What they didn't count on, though, was having to wait to get transported to jail for this long with their hands tightly zip-tied together behind their backs the entire time. Having their bodies stuck in this unnatural position is just so uncomfortable. Downright painful, even not only to their wrists but to their shoulders as well. And of course, not being able to use their hands at all also makes them feel quite defenseless and vulnerable, especially with all these armed officers surrounding them. Unfortunately for them, though, this is simply the price they have to pay for standing up for what they believe in. It is a shame, but it is what it is.